Hello, Durud and Shalom. Hi, everyone. We have an unexpected guest and a surprise guest. Surprise! We got two, not just Mansur, but we also have Khalifa.
Uh,
This is amazing. I was,
ايوه عليك. Yeah.
Druz
I
Hafla.
didn't expect. Yeah. I get back. By the way, people didn't know in the chat that Khalifa is coming here as well. They were already excited that Mansour is coming, but now there should be extra. By the way, for people who might not, many people in my audience already know you guys. But for people who don't know you guys, can you guys introduce yourself so other people could get excited as well? You go
Khalifa,
ahead
you
first.
first.
Yeah, so
Okay, Khalifa, you go.
I'm the Hello Hebrews and Hebrews guy. I'm Druz guy from Dalit El Carmel in northern part of Israel. I'm a YouTuber. I have the Khalifa Shark podcast, and I really discuss all about the Druze culture, community, their bonds with the Jewish community, with the Christian community, and try to put some awareness about what's happening about the Druze, because I believe their story is fascinating and tells a story of that a lot of people should hear and know about, because it tells the whole story of the Middle East in a very interesting perspective.
And I am
Yep.
Mansu, for
Okay.
those who know me. Oh, sorry. It's cutting
No,
in.
no, go ahead. I was just going to say, go ahead, Mansour.
Thank you. So I'm Mansu. I'm an Israeli Druze as well. I'm a former IDF officer and a member of the special forces in the IDF. I did many, many years, mostly in the call it security field in the offense and the defense. But then lately I decided to follow my dream and start my own YouTube channel about fatherhood, psychology, and traveling. And 1 week later, October 7th started. So I ended up
Oh, shit.
shifting all my content basically just to standing by my country, because I felt that the Druze are the best example to actually counter all the lies about Israel, because we are Arabs and we are Israelis and we have the best life in Israel, and we can prove that coexistence actually exists and all these people trying to lie. So I felt like this is something that I have to do. So I started doing YouTube about that, and here I am.
Right. So Druze are Arabs. Is that because I said that in my live stream yesterday, and some people were disagreeing with me. So I was correct. So Druze are Arabs, and
Yes.
Druze both inside Israel and outside of Israel has a great bond with the Israeli people. Is that fair to say?
Almost
Yeah.
fair to say. In general, and sorry for
Mhm.
Khalifa for cutting in, the Druze, there's about 1.5 million of us in the world. It's a very small secret religion that came out of the Shia. And
Mhm.
basically, it's a 1,000 years old New Age religion. It came and it said,
Mhm.
we take everything. We believe that the Jews have their prophet, the Christians have their prophet, the Muslims have the prophet, the Hindus, the incarnation, doesn't matter what. And they mix it all together. But that made them kuffar in the eyes of Islam, because they said that there's reincarnation. So Islam started,
Mhm.
basically killing them and butchering them. So they all fled to the northern part of Israel, Lebanon, and Syria. And then when Israel got established as a state, they got separated. The Druze in Israel became very loyal, citizens, shoulder to shoulder with the Jews. They have all the rights and obligations. In Syria, they actually maintained pretty good relationship with us, but they were extremely oppressed, so they were afraid to talk. So they don't hate Israel in Syria, for example. In Lebanon, they did manage to bring a lot of anti-Semitism infused to not all the Druze, but to quite a lot of them, which is very
Mhm.
interesting, because I've met a Druze that blew my mind, because he was a full-on supporter of Iran, the Islamic Republic of Iran. He was a full-on
Mhm.
supporter of Hitler, and he's a Druze, and he
What
hated
the?
Israel. And I was like, how can that be? But I realized, okay, he's from Lebanon. So I won't say
Mm.
all of them love Israel, but I would say most of them do.
Most of them, yeah. Obviously, we can't generalize, but when
Yeah.
I say there's a huge bond between them, I'm talking about mostly. I'm not talking about
Mhm.
every single Druze out there, right?
Yeah.
So basic, which is also, I mean, that's very interesting because so there's this group of Arabs who are, some of them are not even Israeli, that many Israelis have a very emotionally uh, one of I've seen Israelis really get emotional about Druze, even Druze who are not Israeli. Like this is like this. It seems like it's a very strong emotional bond, and I don't see many around the world talk about it. And it seems like it should be their go-to example when everybody tries to suggest that Israel is anti-Arab, given the strong bond that these two communities have. So I think like this needs to be talked about a lot more. So it's interesting. And yeah, why is it like right now there's a massacre happening against the Druze in Syria, and it doesn't get that much of an attention. Like if this happened to Muslims somewhere, it would get a lot more attention, I think. So why is
Yeah.
it that this doesn't get as much attention?
Listen, man, I just saw a picture today, just before this podcast, of a mother sitting on the floor. Her grandmother, her mother, is dead, shot on the floor. Her daughters are shot, and she's crying. And that just happened in Syria. They went through houses, slaughtered men, women, and children. I just saw another video where they went through the prayer house and they slaughtered all the religious men and other elderly men. And then they were going around shaving their beards and boasting and celebrating, doing what, a lot of these radical Muslims love to do, which is desecrate the dead and humiliate, and very similar to what they saw on October 7. And then I went on the news, and I see CNN is not mentioning it, Fox News is not mentioning it. Even in Israel, some news outlets are barely mentioning it. And it really bothered me because so far, the only channels that are mentioning it are individual YouTubers like us, people who have their own platforms, who are bringing it up. But for some reason, a lot of these official news outlets are just keeping it hush hush. And I think one thing is no Jews, no news. And what that means is when the news serve an agenda to make the Jews look bad, everybody jumps on it, if it's right or wrong. Hamas shoots a rocket, lands on its own people. Everybody blames Israel. They don't even check it. They just put it out there. In Syria, they go and slaughter minorities, Christians, by the way, as well, and Druze. Now it's making the bad guys look bad, and they don't want that. They want the good guys to look bad. So I feel like there's a big move of trying to make the good guys look bad and the bad guys not look bad. And it's controlling a lot of the media. That's my opinion. I can't explain it otherwise.
Is it really that evil? Like they're like the people within the mainstream media, they're like, oh, we need to make Israel look bad. And so that's why we're not covering this news. Like it's hard for me to think that I think it should be more indirect. It should be more subtle. It cannot be this direct. It's just like it's too evil, I mean, too cartoonishly evil. Like I think like there should be something more. There should be more steps in between. I mean, I don't know what. I can't explain it, but there needs to be some more to it. I don't know if you guys have
I think what you're calling is woke. I think like they have in between woke. So there is people with the money and the agenda behind, and some of them are just pure evil and support terrorism, and they're sponsoring universities, and they're sponsoring all kind of radical regime, all the way from the Islamic Republic of Iran to Qatar and I don't know what. And then in between, there's a lot of brainwashed people just fall for that, and they become the agents, useful idiots. And they're like pushing that agenda because you're right. It's like it's so obvious. I think Khalifa went to put his kid to bed. It's so obvious, especially for me. There's a saying that I've been really going through my head lately. If you would only knew what I knew, you'd think differently. And I keep telling myself that in relating to others. Is there something, Mansur, that someone is sitting right now looking at you and said, if you only have seen what I've seen, you'll be thinking differently? And that's a good reminder to just step outside yourself a little bit and look at the big picture. And as someone who is born and raised in Israel, an Arab in Israel, all my friends are Jews and Christians in Israel, someone who's been in the Middle East, someone who's been to many of these crazy countries around, crazy stuff I've experienced and seen in my time in the Middle East in my service, it's very obvious for me who are the good guys and who's the bad guys. Very obvious for me. But then I go and look at Western media and it's like, how can they get it so wrong? Now, once or twice I get it, but it's like, other than that, it's deliberate. It can't be otherwise. You cannot keep defending Islamists while seeing all the crazy things that Islamists are doing and then keep calling yourself, I know, we didn't know. You kind of lose the credibility of being innocent, an innocent mistake. And mainstream media is just repeatedly painting a different picture.
Well, I think so. Mainstream media is just selling what what has the highest demand. Like, so if they see something sells, they just go for that. That's it. Like, that's how mainstream media works. It's not. I think they don't have an agenda other than selling the most amount of content to. So I think it's more a reflection of society, the way they look at it, and then mainstream media is just discovering what is selling right now. And Jew hatred has been selling for thousands of years. And but another thing that is selling, as you pointed out, which is wokeism, I think the way they they see it is that in their mind, if you are white or whitish, if you're rich, if you are part of the countries that are usually associated with colonialism and imperialism, and if you're powerful, then based on what we have read in books, in our children's, in our fantasy books as children, in Hollywood movies, the evil guys are the people with power, the people who have the rich. The good guys are the poor ones. The good guys are the ones who are less powerful. They're they have the darker skin color, and it just fits well. So I mean, Israel to them is an extension of Europe, so it's basically as extension of the imperialism, colonialism. These, I don't know, these Palestinians, they look poorer. They're Arab, so they are part of the part of the world that has been oppressed. So I don't have to think about it this too hard. Okay,
Yeah, but maybe
it just fits. It just fits the way I look at the black and white image that I have of the world. It just fits very well in there, and that's all I need, right? So that's what I think. Yeah.
yeah, no, I think I would agree with you, but I think what you're saying describes the end user experience of
Yes.
wokeism and of anti-Semitism. But there's undoubtedly behind it the perpetrator, the one that is pulling the strings. And I think there is where you have people that are, communist to the core, anti-Semit to the core, Nazi to the core, Muslim Brotherhood to the core. That's where you have these people. And I think these people, in some cases, have a lot of money, a lot of influence. And if you think from a strategic way, because I used to be an officer in the military, and it was always for me easy to think about what would the enemy want to do to me, or what I would want to do to him. And he thought about it before me. So I need to always play that game. And I think woke, for example, is one of the best tools to destroy a modern society. You make them doubt everything. You rob morality out of everything. You make them feel like they are the best generation that will save the world, and everyone before them is wrong. And you make them hate their own country, their own government, and think that the white people are evil, that successful people are evil, while outside of their bubble, there's real evil. They just don't know it. And that's how you make it crumble. So that's, as an enemy of the US, for example, I would say that's a great way to take down the US, or Europe. So I think the end user experience doesn't necessarily wake up in the morning and think I am woke evil, but he's been played by very, very bad, evil people that are manipulating him. And we see that so much in the Muslim world, for example. I don't think that many Muslims wake up in the morning thinking I'm evil, but they've been indoctrinated from a young age to believe that people like me and you are infidels and that we need to die.
Right. Speaking of people like you and me, I think people like you and me are so inconvenient to all of this narrative, right? Because we just don't fit in. Like, you're an Arab that supports Israel. I'm an Iranian that supports Israel. I'm an Iranian. We are Middle Eastern, non-white people, not associated with this imperialism or colonialism or Western powers, and we are anti-Islam. So the way that they deal with us is they try to, because it makes it hard. It gives them a headache. They have this very simplistic way of looking at the world, trying to decide who's good and evil. So when we come in, they have different strategies to try to figure us out. One of them is by referring to us as tokens, or I don't know,
Tokens?
Uncle Tom's, huh?
Tokens? Well, I never heard that.
Yeah, tokens is basically, for example, Jews picked this Arab as a favorite to try to show that they're not actually a token Arab that they like, as a way to suggest that they're not anti-Arab, just like something like that. Or Iranians are now they're being dismissed as monarchists, right? Many of them as oh, these people are monarchists, so they're fucking stupid, fuck, because because if you're Iranians who are basically pro Reza Pahlavi or pro the Pahlavi in any way, which many that's the biggest actually political view in Iran, which is also the people who are pro Israel. They are basically the fans of or supporters of not just Reza Pahlavi but also Mohammad Reza Shah before him, which had a close relationship with both United States and Israel. So basically, they consider us to be, I don't know, unaware puppets of this Western Empire with no agency and of our own. We're just
You
being
know,
played, and we don't know that. Yeah.
Iranians are the reason that I lost hope in, American liberals and wokes. Because I used to think for a while that if only they would meet Iranians, free people of Iran, they will change their mind. I said, like, undoubtedly, that's like a joker card that I felt like we have in our, side, that we will show them
Right.
what true evil mean. I said, like, there's no, you can't deny it. Like, they're not Arabs. They've been conquered by Arabs. They're suffering. They're oppressed. They're not white. You can call them brown if you want. So they fit every category of, what the woke would usually love, and they're oppressed. Women there can't, show their hair. They get flogged and their eyes plucked if they dare to criticize the government. Men, are killed and kidnapped if they manage to dare to even say that they don't hate America and Israel. They're really like heavily oppressed in every possible way. Gay people are being hanged there. So I thought, like, in every ticking box, once a woke person will meet an Iranian, it will open his eyes and like, oh my God, I've been supporting the wrong people. But somehow they managed to be immune to you guys even. And that one I said, like, okay, if that doesn't convince them, nothing will.
So this supports your theory because it suggests that it's not about human rights. It's not about protecting minorities. It's not about protecting women's rights. It's not about LGBT rights. Okay. These are all just the surface. Those are just for show. The actual agenda is anti-Western and anti-Israeli. That is the main agenda. Anti-Western power.
The person like that will wake up in the morning, look himself in the mirror, and says, "I'm an evil person." That's crazy for me, because a person that will wake up in the morning and says, I don't really care about women rights, I don't care about gay people, even though I'm gay. I'm just saying I don't care about this and that, but I'm gonna use these things because I hate the West so much, but if I will meet a gay oppressed person that doesn't agree with me, I will shun him over. So I don't know if they wake up and they look in the mirror and they see themselves like that. I think they really think, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think they lie to themselves before they lie to they do, like, people who are this evil. Usually I think that they have to convince themselves, like, they lie to themselves before they lie to other people. They have to convince themselves of their own lies.
Probably.
That's what I think.
There's probably a lot of psychological insecurities there also.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, before I move, we do have to talk about what's happening in Syria, but let me just add this before we move there. I also think it's a lot about lack of meaning in life when when a country becomes economically advanced enough and you don't have the struggles of other countries. When you reach a certain level of comfort and economic power, then a lot of things that people traditionally find to give them meanings in life, when the struggle is gone, the search for meaning will become more challenging. And a lot of these people require the fight. They require, because that's what people, I mean, we don't want that life because that's a very hard life, but that hard life that we have had for 10,000 years, it does give us meaning, the challenge, the fight. So when you become economically too comfortable, which is good, but then you miss the fight, that the fight is missing, and therefore you're dealing with a crisis of meaning. And to bring that meaning back, you have to try to find a way to keep the comfort, but at the same time participate in a fight. So what you do is you outsource the struggle to someone somewhere else, but you basically you want people in Gaza to continue to be under like the war what's happening in Gaza. This is a good opportunity for me as a Westerner, because they're the ones who are dying. They're the ones who are bombs are dropping on their head. All I have to do is buy a Palestinian flag to put on my shirt, or buy a Palestinian cover for my phone, put a watermelon symbol next to my profile name, and all now I can be a revolutionary. I can satisfy my revolutionary fetish
Yeah,
without actually paying the blood and tears that is usually required in being in a revolution or fighting against a power. So
exactly.
these are, yeah. So that's what I think is also happening, which is
I
yeah,
call it, it's a cheat code to be called an activist or a revolutionary person. It used to be days where,
right.
you'd sit in the village in Britain, and then a woman would come back from Africa, and she's a doctor, and she lived there for 20 years, and she's been treating different kind of tribes, or I don't know what, somewhere in Siberia, and everybody would flock to come and hear her, and little kids would look at her and like, wow, she's such an empowered, strong woman. She's a dreamer, she's an activist, she's a missionary, she's, I don't know, call her different names. And today, I feel like a lot of these woke, empty people that are feeling like there's an emptiness inside them, they found a cheat code. They just say, I support Palestine. Oh, you're such a good person. I'm vegan. Oh, you're such a person. Like they jump on different things that are just a cheat
Right.
code to make them feel good. And it's a human psychology. It's literally human shallow psychology of morally, weak people. That is just easy. You don't need to. Because I remember I was one time, helping a friend build a school in Africa. And then I would go home and I will meet people that would be talking all kind of nonsense, and I really saw that they're not willing to do the hard work. Because whenever I offered them to come and help me with something, never wanted to, but they always wanted the fame and the glory of getting the title of someone who's trying to change the world, but without actually trying to do it. So I think you nailed it when
Right.
you say it's like that cheat code to be called good without the sacrifice. Yeah.
Without suffering. Yeah. So let's actually go to Syria. Can you explain, now that more people are here on the stream, now it's a good time to tell people what the hell is happening in Syria? What just happened to the Druze community there? Can you let us know? What's the breakdown?
Maybe Khalifa wanted to do that because I feel like I talked enough.
Okay, yes.
Well, thank you. So I think basically it all started on, like, the breaking point started on April 25th, when a group of sheikhs from all over Syria, as an act of, closing, getting the hearts of people to get together, families to meet, and in a pilgrimage that symbolize, unity and love, and all those things. So in the eyes of the jihadists, that single thing, that, acknowledging Israel, and you have a community over there and you are wishing to visit there, that was enough for them. That once they got back to Syria, a roll of actions started with a fake video of a sheikh. Like, didn't even try to, uh, try too hard, because they did a video with, like, a stills picture that has an old man, an elderly sheikh, respected man, with the voice of a younger man, and they claiming that this is the man speaking bad things about Prophet Muhammad. And only that, a fake video of someone somehow insulting Prophet Muhammad was enough. That 3 days later, a general jihad backed by the Ministry of Interior Affairs of the Syrian government declared a general jihad against the Druze. And ever since, the Druze community, like all other minorities, like the public sphere became less and less safe for them. So it ended up with huge clashes, and the HTS powers occupied Sahnaya and Jaramana, two major like these small cities, like around 150 or 200,000 Druze community, living like in a sea of Muslim Sunnis, like a sea of Sunnis, over 5 million. Like, it's a suburb in Damascus. So they went in, stormed in, did a massacre, killed more than 100 people just based on a fake video, okay? but that's just an excuse to kill the Druze because they had the chutzpah of visiting Israel or saying that we want some relation with Israel or even acknowledging Israel. So
Now, I think, sorry for cutting Khalif, I think they want to kill the Jews way before because we are considered, a dictionary definition in Quran as kuffar and we should die. But that's why the Druze were many times trying to live in Taqiyya over there and tell them, no, we're Muslim. Because, they were playing these games. So are you really Muslim? Yes, I am. Yeah? Give me your daughter. Let me marry her. I don't know. So they were looking for an excuse to kill us. And the first excuse that came, they jumped on it. Because,
no,
Jolani made it
that's
clear.
what I'm trying to say. They created it because they go
Yeah.
with a Nazi ideology that goes way back. And if you like talked about this thing, I would say that Muslim communities, as you know, as under the Sharia laws, they could handle Christian and Jews because the Quran actually mentions Christians and Jews. But once they hit these communities like the Druze, who is allegedly younger than Islam, they can't even know how to handle them, especially that they see us as murtadin, people who came out from Islam, meaning that we've been with the true belief and we came out of it. So how do you say it, the judgment over us is harder than Jews and Christians. This is why Ibn Taymiyyah, the spiritual father of all the Salafis, it's a name that you must heard about, who is a Muslim scholar. All ISIS adhere to his philosophy. So he said, in name, start with the Druze. This is why I always say that Druze are Jews more than
Really?
the Jews, because they start with the Druze before they hit Israel, and
Yeah.
like they look at Jerusalem, but they start with the Druze because they say, okay, we need to separate those minorities apart. Remember the set of mind of the Muslim Sunnis to occupy the whole world. And once you have minorities backing up each other, and I didn't talk about the relation between Druze and Jews, but it goes hundreds of years back again, especially from this point. Like, I will back your back, you will back mine, and we could have some force against this Islamist conception.
Is there any beyond just the religious reasons? Because if the Shia, like I could understand political reasons also why the Shias would be against the Druze community there, because um politically I could see why the Islamic Republic will find the Druze community in Syria to be a major headache for them, okay, because they're standing in the way between the Islamic Republic and the borders of Israel, okay. So other than ideological and religious reasons, it also militarily and politically, the Druze are a headache to the Islamic Republic. For the Sunnis though, is it purely religious? Is there anything other than religious? Is there any political reason or militarily advantage that the Sunnis think that they might be able to gain for attacking the Druze, or is it just pure hate, religious hate?
Sure. Well, first of all, according to the religion, like what you said about the Shia, like if you look at the political Islam, it's like a coin with two faces. One green, which is Sunni, and one is black, which is Shia. They basically the same thing, but in different perspective. But they both want to put the public sphere under the law of the interpretation of the religious people. That's the first. And the second thing is, of course, there's a political thing because we Druze in Israel are Zionist, and they don't like that. Seeing us, with such a strong tie with the Jewish people really upsets them. They see us as like, betrayals. We are a very bad case study for them, and this is why they hate us most and try to
It-
separate us from the Jewish
Oh,
people.
Mansur, yeah.
They love to call us traitors, but I mean, it used to really piss me off. When I was an officer in the army one time, I had a Palestinian man who came and called me, "Shame on you. You should be on our side, but you're on the side of the Zionists, you traitor." And then I came and I looked at him. For 1,000 years, your people have been killing my people. And now finally, we find a group of people that doesn't want to kill us, that treat us equally, that give us rights. And we choose to side with them. And you call me a traitor. Shame on you. And he was like
Wow.
shocked, you know. And
Wow.
yeah, I mean, of course, I was also the officer in the army, and I was like coming at him very upset. Just he dared to come and just throw such a stupid claim to the air. But also, just like Khalifa said, undoubtedly the religious have a strong aspect here, because Islam is one of the biggest colonizing religion on the planet right now, and also converting by force. You know, either join us or die. You know, that's a very clear kind of movement where they're going. Some more, some less. Now, when it comes to the Druze, I feel the Druze and the Jews have something in common, because they're not trying to convert anyone, and they just want to be kept alone to themselves. And many times that pisses off a lot of communities. You know, it's like, hey, what do you think, you're special? Think you're better than us? Because the Druze try to stay kept to themselves, because when you're Druze, you're not actually allowed to marry outside. The Druze religion believes that you're only born Druze. You cannot become Druze. You cannot convert. And they also believe in like live and let live. You know, let us live our life. We cannot even convert you if you want. So just leave it as it is and just stay like that. So I think
And the
that's
faith,
the same
and
with
the
the
faith
Jews.
itself, it's kept in secret. So they say, okay, we keep our main, like even us, me and Mansur, can't read the biblical, like the religious script, because we're not
Scripture.
religious scripture, because we're not religious ourselves. It's kept in secret, and that really pisses them off.
Uh, let me ask you this, because I'm trying to, because so many times when Islamists do something, there's a religious aspect to it, but there's also something that they might. Sometimes there's a tactical reason to it as well, right? Is it possible that one reason why now, especially at this time, they're attacking Druze, that has picked up,
Yeah.
is because right now within Syria there are a lot of inner power struggles, and the Islamist sections. So there's Syria is so hard to make a country out of Syria, because there's so many different movements and agendas based on nationalist tendencies, ethnic loyalties, and religious loyalties. So, and there's so many of them, and it's just like a Frankenstein monster that many people doubt that you could actually turn this into a country, a healthy country, because it's just so there's lack of unity. Um, but with it right now, that there seems to, after Assad is gone and there's a power vacuum, the more Sunni hardliner, crazy ISIS, Al Qaeda type people, killing Jews is an advertising tactic. It's basically getting coverage for killing Druze. Is basically it's like a billboard. It's like, look, we're active, we're abiding by Islamic laws. We're not actually trying to unite with Israel. Maybe some people are trying to unite with Israel or have peace with Israel. Our group is not doing that, and our group is actually trying to show that we're against that. So basically, trying to get media coverage for killing Druze is a way to recruit. It's a way of advertising for recruitment. Is marketing, basically? Do you think that could be?
Yeah. I think that definitely could be, but I think also now that you mention it, there's an aspect, because I remember whenever I joined a social event, especially in Europe, where there was a pro-Muslim Brotherhood kind of, Muslim girl usually or something, and they were trying to portray an image of how bad is Israel and America and the West and how innocent is Islam. And whenever they would hear that I'm a Druze, they'll get very nervous. And many times they'll get a bit hostile towards me. And why? Because the Druze are a very good card to actually call their bluff. And what happened is, if you look at the attack with Syria, and Khalifa mentioned that quite a lot in his podcast, and I think it's very true, they started slaughtering the Druze, intensifying it, after Israel allowed religious delegation to come from Syria, reunite with their lost family in Israel, and go to the holy place. And the Muslim world, the radical one, and the Jew-hating one really hated that, because that was showing a different picture, that Israel actually doesn't hate Arabs. Here you go. Israel is allowing Arabs from an enemy country to enter freely and welcoming them to go and see their holy sites. No one is killing them. No one is burning their holy sites. They're letting, so that image, they really wanted to cut it. Because when you look at it also, one of the reasons that they say Hamas did what they did in Iran, the Republic, the regime of Iran backed them up, because they were afraid of the Abraham Accords. They said, we can't let this happen, because the moment that you would see the true picture, that the Jews actually want to live in peace with Arabs, and that the main problem here is that, the radical Muslims, it's going to be very, very bad for them. So they try to kill anyone that might even bring that notion. And I say that quite a lot. The Druze people, when Israel started the state of Israel, the Druze and the Palestinians had the same starting point. They were living here, everybody was fighting with everyone. Then the Jews came, and the Druze could have ended up fighting with the Jews just like they did. But the Druze came and said, wait a second, the Jews are nice. They don't want to kill us. Let's be friends with them. And since they have great, relationship, great blood covenant, all the rights and obligations, and the Palestinians kept being fixated on killing and killing and killing and killing while trying to blame. So when you look at it, if the Palestinian would have chose the same path that the Druze chose, which is a path of peace and coexistence, they would have been in a different place right now. So the Druze is some kind of a card, because we're Arabs. We're actually, we came from under Islam. We came from under the Shia. So actually that image, they hate that, because that is showing in their face what a failure. And I tell you even more, they're afraid that if Israel will take over Syria, and the Druze and others group, even Muslims, will go under Israel, that place will flourish, will succeed, will have science, will have medicine, will have hospitals, will have art, will have festival, tourism. It will become just a really good place. But when that's under them, it's a shithole, and it's just going down. So they're afraid also to give that chance for the Jews to prove themselves again, that they're actually much better than them, much more successful, much more humanitarian, much more scientific, much more liberal. They hate that. So they try to kill, and the Druze is a good way to shush them off, because they're an agent that can shoot back in their face. Look at that. Druze are Arab. How come they're living in peace?
Right. So, based on your explanations, it makes a lot of sense to me why Druze many Druze, don't want to generalize, love Israel and would support Israel. And they serve in the IDF, and many of them say that they're proud Zionists. How about the other way around? Can you explain why? I've noticed, by the way, a very strong, very, very strong love for Druze from Israelis, including Jewish Israelis.
I think sometimes
what does explain? Yes.
Yeah, I think sometimes the Jewish Israelis love the Druze more than they love themselves. And also Israel loves the Druze, and Israel love Israel sometimes more than some of the Jews. If you go to a Druze village, Khalifa in my village, you'll see more Israeli flags and Druze flag flipping around every street corner than in Tel Aviv or Jerusalem. And it's because they feel very...
Well, why?
I think because the Jews got so fed up and used to people hating them all the time, that when they find a group of people that doesn't hate them and also doesn't want to convert them, and just tell them to stay as you are. Imagine that's the best relationship, when you meet a girl or a partner that come tell you, listen, I love you as you are, stay as you are, and let's just be together. And I keep my space here. That's like the best partnership. So I think the Jews, they really feel that with the Druze, because we have proven ourselves again and again and again that we are there.
That is so beautiful, and it's also sad. You're saying that the Jews are so used to the world hating on them, then that when they meet somebody that doesn't hate them, they fall in love. Because oh wow, you guys don't hate us.
But it goes both ways. Like if you take in percentage wise the Druze community, we sacrificed more from our people for the sake of the Israeli state, and that's because we suffered another regimes that wasn't so tolerant, and we would pay the price of being in such a great country. And I think if we go back to the last April, when the Syrian people came to Israel, This is what the Israeli Druze showed the Syrian Druze. Look how wonderful living here. They saw, like, helicopters in air, and saw how police escorted them, and saw how we can travel whenever we want, however we want, dressing the way we want, and that's by
Right.
itself is amazing.
I heard it also has to do with how the Druze communities within Israel, how how much they serve Israel, how much the Druze community, for example, within the IDF, proudly serves and defends the country, and a lot of Israelis noticed how many Druze within Israel, how loyal they are, how much they sacrifice for the sake of this country, and that also is a contributing factor. Is that also
Of
true?
course, I mean,
Yeah.
you're talking to two Druze, and he's a special forces veteran, and me, I'm a special
Yes.
forces guy as well. So
Nice.
we get a lot of dignity and honor serving the IDF. Like,
Mm.
for us having pilots and firefighters and all those guys, it brings us a lot of honor that we love, and we have some qualities knowing Arabic and the culture here. We could mediate in a way the surroundings to Israel, and helping the intelligence, helping the security forces, and we absorb a lot of fulfillment doing these kind of jobs.
So right now, right when the massacre against the Druze, how many people, by the way, were killed in Syria in this massacre that just happened? Like, I think what was the latest numbers of the people who were? Do you guys know
They're
the?
talking about hundreds, but it's not so
Yeah,
clear yet,
not so clear.
and things get like inflated once everything, like, it's still a mayhem. So the picture is not so
Mm,
clear, but I've seen
mm,
the videos of those HTH fighters. They were like they were firing rounds randomly, killing women, killing children, kidnapping young ladies. Like, we the scale of this thing is yet to be discovered, but it looks bad.
Is it
Also,
over? Like, yeah, go on.
also they, aside from shelling, indiscriminately cities and towns with, heavy rockets and stuff, they did send a broadcast message across all of their jihadists and soldiers telling them, do not do the mistakes of the past. Don't record what you're doing. Do what you need to do. Just don't record it. So why do you need to say that? You know, because what
Mm,
happened when Hamas did that? They did it with the Alawites before and before that, and it backfired at them. So they're telling you, we know what you're gonna do. You're gonna go killing indiscriminately, kidnapping this, but just don't film it. It doesn't help us. And also, they did manage to conquer about 5, 6 small Druze villages, each one of them combining several thousand people. So, I mean, it's very hard to know. They control the internet, so they shut down the internet on them, turn off the grid, the electricity, and now they conquer the villages. So just like Khalifa said, the numbers will be revealed only later, but we can just
mm.
assume what kind of a terrible treatment were these people received, because who are these people? They're just evil jihadists.
So is this happening right now, like, or as we speak? Is this still going on, or?
The big part of it is like got settled down a bit. So what happened basically? They infiltrated the Sueda province. They came with tank, with heavy machinery guns, and they bombed the city. They did all these atrocities. They burned churches as well. So even Christians got infected by this attack. But what happened later on, that Israel did warn the Syrian regime and bombed the heavy tanks and all those artilleries. So they had to retreat. And now what we are having is thousands of jihadists working as, as small group of wolves, and they go and loot and set homes on fire and do all the nasty things that they are doing, because they're just a death cult. This is what they do, and this is what excites them most.
Yeah, they're a death cult, and Armin, I'm sure you know that, but these jihadists, they don't have a pension. They're not educated people. They're not dentists, accountants. They don't, school teachers. They're trying to live as the example of the prophet and his warlords, which is basically moving with their Toyotas and some friends, hearing there's a conflict zone here. That's where a lot of foreign fighters come. Let's go there. There's a chance to get loot, to steal money, and to kidnap little girls and make them our wives. And that's how they operate. And it's like the Mad Max of the Arab world on steroids. You just go, okay, the Druze girls, if we go and kill them, with the word chat messages revealed between argument between some of these jihadists in Syria, one coming to the other faction says, last time when we raided the Alawites, you promised me that I can take some of these sabaya, these little girls. You didn't take it. Now, I don't want to start a conflict between my family and yours, but I expect in the next raid, I'll be the first one to pick from these girls after we kill their parents. So for them, this is life. I move from one tribe to another, from one place to another. I burn, I loot, I kidnap, and I move onward until I perish and I go and meet my virgins. That is the mentality that some of these, and that's many people in the army, by the way, right now, in the Syrian army. That's their mentality. And for them, the Druze is an opportunity as well. There's going to be a lot of bloodshed there. It's a lot of chance for me to go in the houses, loot, burn, go in the churches, take all the gold, throw everything on the floor, take the girls with me, and run and have a better, that's their exit plan. The Jews have startups to have an exit plan. They have this exit plan, radical terrorism.
And there's
That's
a
a good example.
pattern. There's an interesting pattern that the way they use ISIS, because they use ISIS like the hounds. So basically, when they want to occupy a place, they send the ISIS people, they do what ISIS does, and then they say, we're sending some forces to put some law and order, and those security forces are working along with ISIS, and they are so stupid that they also film themselves using them, some of them with the official uniform of the Syrian army with ISIS patches on them. So this is the pattern. They used it on the Alawites, they used it on the last April, and they are using it now. It's the same tactic, and now we're heading for a more crucial stage where they are trying to occupy the province quietly, because once things settle down, and as Mansur said earlier, no Jews, no news. So things will settle down, and nobody's gonna hear about the Druze, because it's again Arabs killing Arabs, so nobody cares about it.
So, how do you respond to this? Because some people accuse Israel of using the Druze, like they say the Druze is just an excuse. Israel is trying to capture parts of Syria and basically occupy Syria. And this whole Druze stuff is just an excuse to just move into Syria and basically take over parts of Syria. How would you respond to that?
That is the dumbest thing you can say. Think about it right now. Israel is involved in a war with 7 fronts at the same time. One of them with the Islamic Republic of Iran that want to build a nuclear weapon and wipe them out of the face of the earth. And all the others want to go October 7. You think that the Jews in Israel and the Israelis are going to go and look for unnecessary fights right now? I think that they need to preserve their ammunition. They need to, let their soldiers. Their soldiers have been exhausted. I was an officer in the army. We had 600 days of war. The soldiers are exhausted. You think we want to go and start another war for people that are not even our citizens in another country, and they're not even Jews, So to come and think that is just ridiculous. It's just
Well,
ridiculous.
let me try to make it again. I
know
have
it's
a
not your
response to
point,
this
but yeah.
myself, but let me actually try to make it more challenging. Okay, so the point is that Israel require, because it's fighting on many sides, to be able to reduce all the attacks that is coming at it in its view. The Golan Heights are key, okay, because the Golan Heights, um, they're elevated. If you put a radar up there, you're going to be able to see all the attacks that are coming from you to you, from all the borders in every single country. Like it's great to have the Golan Heights. Also, if your enemy has the Golan Heights, it's really easy because they have the high ground. It's really easy to attack Tel Aviv if you don't lose it. So they're saying, like, even if they're exhausted, they would be more exhausted if they don't have the Golan Heights, because the enemies will be able to attack them easier. So they want to basically get this area, and it's key for them to get this area, and that's why they're using the Druze as an excuse to move into Syria to be able to get this key strategic land. What do you think? What do you think?
I think undoubtedly it is true what you just said. The Golan Height, for Israel having it right now, gives them another edge that they can make sure that another October 7 will not jump on them by surprise. Because now they have, aerial superiority, and it's quite a long valley there. After you take the mountain, you can see enemy forces coming in. And they did that. They went in and they took that area, and there's Druze villages under it, and they're actually very happy to live. That's actually the only safe place in Syria right now, where they can get medicine, people can sleep and start closing the doors at night, and et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of Druze and Christians that are fleeing to that area because they want to be under the IDF. But Sueda, there's a whole borderline area called Dara, which is the Muslim Bedouin kind of areas that divide between them. So Sueda is not connected to Israel. So for Israel to go and, let's say, conquer Sueda, which, if you ask me, would be a great thing. I think any place in the Middle East,
Yes.
any place in the Middle East that is going to be under either Christians or Jews and not under these Muslims is going to get a better future.
An
Seriously.
atheist.
That's
An
how it is.
atheist.
No, that's how it is.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
how it is. You can live there peacefully. You can have freedom to practice your religion. Economy can flourish, literature, science. But Israel is not there yet. That's not something that is very feasible even right now, because there's a lot of
And-
Muslims living in between, and the Druze don't have a connection. So I
and
think
also,
protecting the Druze in Suwayda, there is strategical advantage for that. Yes, because they're kind of borderline between Iran and other forces that might want to come, and they're your allies, but it's quite far from us. I don't think Israel is going to go and conquer also Suwayda.
okay, and now that he just pictured the map, I will ask you, like, can Israel do it? Can it occupy this region? Can it do it, Mansur? Do you think she can?
No,
he
yeah,
can-
yeah. I once answered that to one of the Israeli politicians when I came and I told him, because he was a religious one, a bit kind of, one of the messianic ones. And he said that he had a dream of the big Israel. And I came and said, let's talk practically, man. You're a smart guy. Do you really think that's a great idea for 5 million Jews, 6 million Jews to rule over 30 million Muslims? Do you think that's a great, like, they don't, even their own people don't want to rule over them, so that's not a great idea. So I think in that aspect, Israel is not looking to cause more headache for itself. They know the Druze are good citizens, Christians are good citizens, but they know with Islam is quite problematic. So I don't think they
No,
want to
but in the ability, if we talk about the ability, it
Oh,
can.
yeah.
It could.
Israel
So
can conquer Lebanon
there's-
and Syria and probably Iran if they wanted. They
The-
don't like
they-
this.
Israel
They
Israel has-
demolished the whole. Oh, sorry. Okay.
No, you go ahead. You finish that thought. I won't forget. Don't worry. I will write it down.
I said that they demolished the whole Syrian army of Bashar al-Assad in 48 hours. So they have the ability. They can conquer it. And once the regime fell, they conquer the places that they see fit. And that's it. There's no more any other intentions in their mind, because otherwise they just would do it. Nothing stops them.
So, what I was going to say is that, the whole greater Israel idea, I know some people in Israel believe that, but most of Israel is not looking for that. And
No.
the policy of Israel is not that. And the best way to show that the policy of Israel is not that is to remind people that no country has given up more land for the sake of peace voluntarily more than Israel. Okay, if they're trying to create the greater Israel, they're doing a very poor job.
Yeah,
Giving
I would
away
even
land
add,
for the sake of peace is
yeah,
not the way to do that.
no country have defeated its enemies so many times without conquering their
Yeah,
lands also. Like Israel have defeated their enemies around
right,
them so many times, and whenever the enemy was
right.
defeated, they kind of said, okay, enough is enough. You ready? Stop. You're gonna try
Yes,
to kill me? Go build yourself. It's
right,
the only one that did that. So that's kind of,
right.
counterproductive, this argument that they're making.
I mean, the Sinai Peninsula itself is like as big as bigger than Israel, and they just gave up all of that to Egypt just to get a peace deal. And they could
With
have
the
hold, they
oil.
could have hold, they could have, yeah, they could have held on to it. They had the power, but they gave it up. So, by the way, on top of everything you mentioned, I'm going to add also Gaza as an example. I'm going to add like for why this is not just an excuse, um, is that Israel doesn't need an excuse. Does not like Israel does like when it needs to do an operation that benefits Israel, Israel just does it.
Yeah.
Israel, it's not like the world is going to be like, oh, you have an excuse, so we're not going to condemn you. Like Israel knows what it has the experience. Whatever it does, the world is going to condemn it. So it's not going to use the Druze community as an excuse, because if it's necessary, it will do it for the safety of its people, regardless of the excuse is not necessary, right? Second reason why I want to add is that the Golan Heights, that part, a part of the Golan Heights should be part of Israel. I think, in my opinion, um, I think it makes sense for everybody for that to be, like everywhere, everyone would be safer. And also another reason why this is not an excuse is because we know how strong the bond between Israelis and Druze are, and also we know how many Druze are within IDF, and they have a bond with the Druze outside of Israel. So this is a real connection. This is not fake. So we know that, right? So those are just things that I wanted to add. How I want to go talked about Jolani or Al Shara. How much do you guys is he keeps changing his name? How much do you guys think that he is um, involved in the attacks on Druze? Does he want this, or is this a case of him ordering this, or is this him not being able to control the Islamists, his people? Which one is it?
That's the $1,000,000 question. I keep asking
Mm.
myself the same, because I think if Jolani is still the religious zealot that he was in the beginning, then he's just fooling the world and he wants what's happening, which is very, very likely to be the answer. But he became an opportunist, and he sees the moment, Israel weakened all the enemies, and he said, I can conquer Syria right now, and then I can put a suit and I can have an exit plan. I become, billionaire like all these other, religious Muslim people. And I just need to play it kind of, easy so no one assassinate me, and I can have a future for me and my family. If he's playing that game, he's kind of screwed, because he used ISIS and Al Qaeda to take over this country, and they're expecting something from him. They're expecting that he will deliver what he promised, to make Syria Sunnah, exterminate all the minorities, and to reward all these jihadists that came and help him. So now he's like stuck. One hand, if that's the case, he needs to appease the West. But on the other hand, he cannot come and say, don't kill the Druze, don't kill the Christians, because the Quran say that. And if he starts saying, I like Israel, they might even kill him. So I think one of these two, he's not really in a good place. I'm tending to believe more that he is still a jihadist like he was before, because he have a track record of being, Olympic level terrorist. He was in Al Qaeda, he was in ISIS, and then he jumped and made his own faction of terrorists.
Well, I mean, the two options that I'm considering is not that one, he's a evil jihadist, and the other one, he's now a good, innocent, reformed person. Those are, I mean, the other, I'm talking about the two, like, obviously, I'm not naive, right? I'm talking about both options that I'm putting in front of you is that he's a jihadist, okay? But one of them is that for strategic and religious reasons, he's suggesting that go and kill these Druze. And the other one also for mostly strategic reasons, wanting to stop them from doing that, not because he's innocent, not because he's a good man, but just because right now in the situation that he's in, for his own sake, for his own power, to create an umbrella where she could, like, it makes sense for him to try. Like, I'm not talking about him just being like, oh, I'm such a good person, we shouldn't be attacking the Druze. Not that bullshit. I'm talking about him needing less chaos in Syria right now, because if there is less chaos in Syria right now, he will have the upper hand. If there's more chaos in Syria right now, his legitimacy, his power will be challenged. Right now, if I mean, if he was thinking strategically, for his own sake, for his own power, he should be stopping these people, because he needs to be attracting investments from United States, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and Turkey. And if that happens, he will become rich, he will become powerful, he will create an umbrella. And killing the Druze does not serve that. Killing the Druze goes against, to me, just from a pure self-interest perspective, it suggests to me that this is him not being able to control his men, not him ordering to kill the Jews. Again, I'm not defending the man. I'm not saying he's a good, innocent person. I'm only talking from a self-interest perspective. This doesn't make any sense for him to order this. What do you think?
I think he burned he revealed his cards when he allowed tanks, artillery, Grad missiles and rockets to drive into Druze villages that did not attack him. And in that moment, you revealed your true identity. It's not like the Druze attacked Damascus where you can come and say, we're defending against them. They're literally sitting in their homes, and now you sent your armies to go and kill them. So I think when that happened, that was probably, the best proof to his true nature. That's what they want to do. They want to exterminate the minorities, and it was a mistake. You're right. If he would have played it differently, he might have prolonged his stay. But I think that really sealed the deal that no one can believe him anymore. I wouldn't believe.
I mean,
I
even
like
if
to
I'm an
differ on
evil,
that. I like
okay,
to
go on.
differ on that because I think, like the backbone of this country is a jihadist. So, and this is the perspective of the Druze. They say, even if we gamble with our lives on Jolani, that he did convert and now he's, this president that is all pure. Okay, we forget that he was ISIS, but the whole
Okay.
government is ISIS ideology people. So the interior minister, all those people, the security forces, these forces are forces that did jihad for so many years. So now they're not thinking over their head. This is not strategic. It's a bloodthirsty for them, conceiving that the Druze, because what the Druze asked, they said we want a decentralized, secular, and democratic state. And this is why those people are hating them, because they like they are in their throats trying to put or establish a democratic liberal state, knowing that as minorities they can't live under the caliphates. And this is why they're trying to terrorize them. This is why they are using terror to occupy them instead of trying to invite them for a dialogue and saying, okay, maybe we could work things together.
Yeah. So here's the thing. In my experience, when Islamists get a taste of power and wealth, when they experience that a little bit, then if it comes at a situation when they have to choose between Islam and power and wealth, most of the time they pick power and wealth. Even if they had a huge track record of Islamism, once they get close to power and wealth, and then they get put in a situation where they have to pick become going in the path of Islam or going in the path of becoming more powerful and rich, most of the time even if they have a huge track record of doing everything Islamically, at that moment in time, they go with the power and wealth instead. Not all the time, but most of the time. Yeah.
I think I'm jumping in, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but I think not most radical Islamist leaders are not like Khomeini or Nasrallah, where you would say they're serious religious zealots on top of being that. Most of them will be opportunists, like you're talking, and this is like the unicorn exit plan of many of them. Let's kidnap a country, make everybody poor, use them as human shields, go attack someone. They come attack us, show dead babies, get a lot of money, blame them for being the bad guys while we're the bad guys, get really rich, run out of here. Come, Arafat did that. Sinwar tried to do that. The other Hamas leaders, they did that. They all became very, very rich by stealing from their country. And in general, also Khomeini and these guys did that for, Iran. They could have invested so much money in the prosperity of their people.
No. Wealth and power, not for the country, for themselves. I mean, like Khomeini did get. No, so Khomeini did choose power and wealth. Like, I'm not talking about for the Iranian people. He did become very powerful. He did live a very luxurious, sacred life. He was just acting like he was living like a poor man. So even Khomeini, at the end, choose power many times. Like, he actually went against many of the things that he said were religiously haram. He basically did a lot of them as soon as he gained power. So again, even Khomeini chose power when he actually tasted power.
True. That's actually, but that goes hand in hand with the history of Islam. You know that the word harmon,
Right.
I don't know if that's the word that you use, but during the Muslim call it expansion, when they became big and rich, suddenly they're not anymore warlords. They had these palaces in the middle of the desert where they would go and they would do a lot of stuff they're not allowed to do, even though they're religious people, but they use religion to control the people. So that's kind of, an ancient example that leaders do that all the time. They get a lot of money and power by oppressing people and convincing them to do crazy stuff in their name. They get all the money and then they go and do sideways, like all kind of crazy parties and stupid stuff.
Yeah, but internally, in their own mind, they will convince themselves, like, oh, actually, Islam is okay with this. Like, it's not like they think in their own mind that I'm going against Islam. They come up with new justification for why this is all okay. And again, I might be wrong. I think Jolani is looking at Mohammed bin Salman, and he's just liking his lifestyle, and he think, like, why can't, like, we could do Islam like him? Why can't we do Islam like him? Like, he's living a rich life, he's very powerful, he just wants to copy Mohammed bin Salman. And we're like, if he could be Muslim and this powerful and this rich, why not do that? Right? So I think that's why, I think maybe I'm wrong. I think that he is not ordering the Druze attack. I think the situation within his people, like whoever ordered those tanks to go there, I don't think Jolani has a control over everybody. I think the internal conflicts right now around Jolani, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Jolani is assassinated tomorrow by one of his own people. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I think that right now within that group, there is a lot of internal conflict. Again, I'm not sure.
100%, 100%. I think also there's players like Turkey behind the scenes. There's other players, I think Syria, Saudi Arabia, China, probably even. I think Syria became like the next, sandbox with the hope of gold under the sand for all these countries. Whoever can control Syria can have a very good asset for himself. In general, there's a lot of talks about all the minerals that are existing in Syria. And I've read one time several reports talking about like how precious they are, especially for the IT and the AI technology. So I'm pretty sure there's a lot of interest here. Whoever can take over Syria.
The most important thing about Syria is the economic corridors that is now going to be viable for both Israel and Saudi Arabia now that Assad is not there. That's more important than any natural resources, the trade routes that are not going to be possible now that Syria is not under Assad. That's why everybody is desperately trying to bring some stability in Syria, because there is so much money to be made if there's some stability there, and you could actually develop those economic corridors.
And you cut Iran. You cut Iran from an access directly into Israel. Suddenly, Syria is not theirs anymore. That's a big thing.
Right. That's huge. Like with guys, right now, the fall of the Islamic Republic is only getting this close because of the fall of Assad. Yeah, actually, that's the most important because right now, like after the fall of Assad, Israel now has complete access to the airspace from Israel all the way to Iran because of Assad. So it's really difficult to bomb Iran, like bomb the Islamic Republic, with when you don't have Syria, because the planes that actually uh, give the what do you call the planes that give fuel to your fighter jets,
Yeah, yeah, the fuel.
they have to, yeah. So they will be so far from Iran's borders that the attacks that Israel could have done, because remember the fighter jets like F-35 raiders cannot see them, but the planes that actually give the fuel, the tank planes, I don't know if that they're called, I don't know. Yeah,
Tankers.
those planes are so big and they're so slow, and raiders could detect them and they could easily be taken down, right?
Mhm.
So those planes need to stop at the border of any country that has an air defense that could actually see those giant big planes and take them down. But because right now, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, all of that airspace after the fall of Assad is completely open to Israel. Now that bombing the Islamic Republic is now so easy because all of these planes could go all the way up to the borders of Iran. And even recently, we actually learned even within the airspace of Iran, they're actually sending these planes, tanker aircraft. Thank you, guys. The tanker aircraft are actually going inside Iran as well. So that's why the bombing of the Islamic Republic, and maybe as a result, the toppling of Islamic Republic has become possible because of the fall of Assad. So that's another topic.
Think about
That's
how
another
well
reason.
played. Think about how well played did Israel do this. Syria used to be
Yes.
one of the most condensed anti-aircraft lands on planet Earth.
Right.
They were so afraid of the Israeli
Right.
Air Force that Israel actually saw it as a serious threat. They had so many, I don't remember the numbers, it was insane. So many anti-missile Russians and I don't know what, all aimed to stop Israel. So when the Assad regime fell, what did Israel do in the first 2 days? The biggest air strike operation on the history of planet Earth. They went and completely
Yes.
destroyed almost the entire Syrian army, including the
Everything.
air defense. And by that, they opened this corridor to reach Iran now. Thinking about in one day in
Right.
the future, we're going to have to go to Iran, but Iran is very difficult. It's very far. It's very big. How are we going to play all these games around there? And one more thing, when I grew up, I remember I was so impressed and surprised by the fact that Israel, the land border of Israel, let's say it's this. So this is Israel, okay? My hand. The air border of Israel actually goes into Syria and other countries around them, and Israel just doesn't give an F. They're telling, listen, guys, if you bring a fighter airplane there, we're taking it down, even if it's over your own country. Why? Because it will take about 3 minutes for it to reach Jerusalem or Tel Aviv. We're not going to take any risk. And now Israel even expanded that and saying, Iran, you're not allowed to fly airplanes over your own self because you're a bunch of radical suicidal jihadists and we don't trust you. We're not going to let you. We're going to keep control here because we know what you're doing. You're going to try to keep building a bomb and we're not going to let you. And the best way to stop you is by having the air. Whoever controls the air can literally,
Yeah.
and that's very
That is
crazy.
such a good that's a very good point, because a lot of people didn't realize how important, like Israel, as soon as Assad fell, Israel didn't take a second. They didn't hesitate at all. They just went in, and nobody, like people didn't realize that why they were doing that. But Israel, as soon as they were, the calculation was already there. They didn't even have to think about it. When
No,
Assad falls, the eventual goal is to attack the Islamic Republic. This is in our way. Just go clean the airspace of Syria, because one day that comes. And only after the 12-day war started, people were realized, like, oh, that's why Israel did this immediately after
well
the Assad
played.
fall. Like
Yeah, well played.
they were just ready. And again, this is why I keep telling Israelis in the chat that if you are not proud of your army, like what are you doing? Like if you are Israeli, you should be some of the proudest citizens on planet. Like, which country has done more to defend its citizens more than Israel? Like, honestly, every citizen of every country should be jealous of
You know what? Most
Israelis, given
badass
how.
Israeli move also to add to that.
Yeah.
Some of the fighters, pilots that went and struck the nuclear facility of Iran and eliminated, their commanders of that evil regime were women, were Jewish women. So a country that oppressed women had their ass whipped by Jewish women that flew all over. Some of them were mothers. They literally tucked their children to bed, told their husband, honey, I'm going to be gone for a day or two. Went, flew over Iran, dropped and killed these bastards, and came back to their kids, to keep breastfeeding and staying with them. What a crazy country would empower women so much that they can go to the country that oppresses women the most and blow the shit out of them. That is true feminism. These ladies should be with Sarah, with what's the name of this lady in the movie Terminator, or Ripley?
Connor.
Yeah, Connor or Ripley from Aliens, like the epic image of like a badass woman. These women, that's the true feminists. They went and kicked ass of misogynist jihadists in a foreign land that is oppressing their women, and went back breastfeeding their own kids. That's crazy.
I could tell you, a lot of Iranians were humiliating the regime with the pictures of the female pilots, because they knew that they find it humiliating that a woman did this to them. This is why during the 12th War, the Islamic Republic lied. They said they took down F-35s, and nobody believed them. Iranians were making fun of them, but they made it. They said that. So they lied. They said that, oh, we took down 2 of their F-35. Some people were reporting 4, 6, and it's ridiculous because nobody can actually take down an F-35. But the regime was claiming it on the national TV that they took that down, and they on purpose said that the pilots were female, on purpose. And now we have captured female pilots, Israeli pilots. On purpose, they said female. And I remember watching some religious, pro-regime channels, and they were bragging. They were saying, who should we give these female pilots to? Like, oh my God, we got their female pilots. Who should we reward? Basically making jokes about grape, and who should basically, which regime official deserves to get these female pilots as their toy, which is absolutely disgusting. I want to ask. Go on.
What really fascinates me about the IRGC is there's a saying in Arabic says that بيكذب الكذبة وبيصدقها, that they tell the lie and immediately they believe it full-hearted.
Right.
Like they really buy their own bullshit. That's amazing in my eyes. Like seeing it,
drinking from the Kool-Aid,
using AI to try to fake women working on intelligence rooms and missiles and all that with 6 fingers and things like that, and they buy this shit.
My favorite thing when they were making these images that there's submarines hidden inside of buildings in Tel Aviv. And I was in Tel Aviv when that happened. I went looking for these submarines. I said, heck yeah, if I find a submarine, I'm going to do a YouTube vlog in it. This is going to be insane. Like making these images. Yeah, we shot the civilian building because there's a nuclear submarine in it. Like, what is it going to be launched into Earth and then go under the ground and come in the ocean? Like, they would make such a crazy propaganda. How are they believing that?
They made an AI image of the F-35s they took down, and the scale was so stupid because the people were standing next to the F-35, and you could see in the image the cockpit was the plane was so big that you could actually fit 30 people in the cockpit of the F-35. That's how crazy.
I thought it was a poster for a new X-Men movie. I thought that's like there's a new X-Men movie coming, or Avengers, like there's a huge spacecraft. I was like, that's Iranian propaganda. Okay, fair enough. Science fiction.
Yeah. But the people in Iran, they don't believe it, obviously. Like the Iranian people, like it's such a good joke for right now. For example, as we speak, Israel is still operating. I don't know if a lot of people know, because some people don't know. People think there's a ceasefire, so there's no more operations in Iran, but Israel is still operating in Iran every day. There are explosions every day in different places, like a much more limited covert operations with drones and spies and stuff. And there are explosions in different parts of Iran every day, and the regime keeps saying that oh, there was a gas leakage, oh, there was a gas leakage over here. And right now on Iranian social media, everybody is making fun of the regime, and like oh, be like they're warning the regime about gas leakage, like hey, the gas is going to attack you. Can I show you a video that the Iranian people made, because it's really funny? Hold on.
Please, please. I
Let
love
me see.
Iranian propaganda. It's one of my favorite shows.
No, this is the Iranian people made against the regime, making fun of the
That's
regime.
even better.
Let me actually show you this one. I showed this people. So they made an AI. So this is Netanyahu with this helmet is from the gas company, but because the regime is basically blaming all of these explosions on gas leak. So let me actually show you this video. Hold on.
Shalom, shalom. Hamegi shalom. Ey zendegi shalom.
مأمور اداره گاز
Shalom.
I love that.
So yeah, I don't know. The social media is now filled with jokes by the Iranian people against the regime. It's just so great. Every time the regime comes with a new propaganda, the Iranians just start memeing the hell out of it. It's really great.
I have a question for you, Armin, if you don't mind,
Yeah.
because I've been really trying to get some answers from, like, people from Iran. What do they think about it? So they say that the Iranian military is composing how many, like, total 700,000, 800,000, something like they have a huge military. I don't know.
Well, I know there's two. There's IRGC and there's Artesh. I know the Artesh has a higher number, but the IRGC is a lot more funded. The IRGC is a lot more ideological than the Artesh. I don't know the exact numbers. I don't remember the exact numbers. I could check that out. Check that for you. But
So-
yeah, it's when it comes to the numbers of people on the ground. I know that the regime has a lot more people than, for example, Israel. But they're not
Yeah,
very
yeah.
well trained.
So my question is, like, these people, they have families. They grew up in a house. How many of them you think are really believing in the Iranian cause to destroy America, destroy Israel, all these things that they're just telling themselves, this hatred towards theirs and the oppression of their own people? And how many of them are just doing it because it's a job, but they're kind of conflicted? We're in a very evil army, because they can't ignore that, there few years back, women were walking freely, economy was better, people were more free, there was science, there was fashion, there was culture. Like, how many of them are really kind of thinking, now this is good, what we're doing right now, this is how it should be?
Right. Okay. So that's a very good question. I think so. We have the Artesh and we have the IRGC. Okay. So when it comes to the leaders, both sides are the leaders of both are evil. The Artesh had good leaders, but the regime replaced it. But within the body, I think the Artesh has a lot more people that are sympathetic to the people, that hate the regime, that would love for the regime to collapse. A higher percentage of the Artesh is like that. Within the IRGC, I think there are people who are like that, but much less. Again, I wouldn't know the exact numbers, but much less of a percentage within because the IRGC has a lot more religious and ideological filters for allowing people to join. The Artesh is the body of the army that existed in Iran since before the Islamic Revolution. It was there. It's basically used to be the royal army of the Shah. And there are many people within that body that would love to go back to being the royal army under the Pahlavi. So a lot of people think that there is a lot more hope for the Artesh to one day join the people, less hope for the IRGC. But we shouldn't close the door on that too, because there are some people there that are in there. I mean, even Mossad hasn't shut the door on any of, like, there are many people within the IRGC that are Mossad spies, right? So because a lot of people within
you said that Iran have more Mossad agents than Israel, and I was laughing. And I was so
yeah.
There's more
No, I
Mossad
mean-
agents in Iran that Iranians than actually Israel, and that I actually like that's actually true. That's brilliant.
No, I mean, ever since the protest that happened because of Masso's murder, it has become so easy for Mossad to find people within the regime to join Mossad and basically pass information. Like Mossad has had a lot of people within the regime are basically secretly anti the regime, and that's why Mossad is just that's why it's so easy to do the 12-day war, because that's why it's so easy to know exactly where every single IRGC commander was. Let me tell you some crazy operations that in the 12-day war that just happened. Two of the officers were called by the regime to join in the meeting, in a very urgent, important meeting, and they showed up and they were bombed. The call was from Mossad, but the call was made it so like it was from the regime, other regime officials themselves. There was another meeting that they bombed. That there were 9 people there. There was supposed to be 10 people. That 10th person did not show up. It was late, and they knew that the guy is late. They waited for him to arrive, and once they arrived, then they shot the meeting and they killed every single one of them. There was one guy that they bombed the area. He survived. He ran away. He went to his family house to secretly went to a member of his family, and he stayed there. And they bombed that area. Like they knew exactly where he's going to go to hide. Like there's so many examples. There are so many of the 100, I don't know, close to 100 of the after they killed the 30 most important senior IRGC commanders, which is crazy. I still can't believe that has happened. They called almost every single other person, and they had their numbers. They called them and told them that you're going to be next if you don't go against Khamenei. I mean, they were shocked. Like, how do you have this number? And many analysts say that none of this is. People say like, oh, this is technological, advanced technology. People who are advanced in technological warfare, they say like no technology can explain this. The only thing that could explain all of this information is a huge percentage of the people in the regime being with Mossad. There is no way out. So yeah, I mean, nobody can, and the good thing is nobody can trust anybody right now because nobody knows who's a spy. And again, it's not spies like Hollywood, like somebody goes and sneaks into a building, gets a laptop, takes a picture, and runs away. It's not that. It's basically the heads of the regimes themselves. And again, we're talking about spies, not like a lot of analysts say that the level of spies that you need is not the driver, it's not the cook, it's not the cleaning lady, it's basically one of the major. It's the officer standing right next to you. It's the highest officials within the regime must be spies for anything like this to be happen, because the level of information that Mossad has is not something that low-level people would know. Like it's not something that the driver will find out. So it's crazy. It's
insane.
I can't wait for the movie.
It's insane. Yeah. It's insane what they did. And I think one of the craziest thing that I was thinking about, give me a common Iranian regime name, from Iran. Give me a common name of a guy, a male name.
Ghani or Hajizadeh.
Hajizadeh. So there's one guy named Hajizadeh. I hope I said the name right. Hajizadeh have one job. There's a red button he needs to press, and 1,000 rockets will be shot over Israel, followed by tens of thousands coming more to wear out the Iron Dome, the Chetz, and annihilate Israel, all the proxies. He have one job, sitting there waiting with a phone, about to press it. What does Israel do? They eliminated all the 30 people that should give him the phone call. So he's sitting there like, hello, 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 hello. No one is answering him. He doesn't know how to press. Meanwhile, Mossad started running in Iran with drones that they built inside Iran and rocket launchers and agents, eliminating launchers, taking down, and in 4 hours, brought this whole regime like a turtle on its back. Now it's sitting, they can't do anything. And they just start going around and poking it like orcas, just poking it, playing with it. They literally took the big Islamic Republic of Iran and humiliated them, not in hours, actually, in minutes. Just flipped them over, put them on their back and start slapping them. Who's funny now? Bam, who's funny now? Bam, who did whatever they want with them, went in, destroyed their nuclear facilities. The only thing they didn't have is enough bunker busters. So they said, okay, listen, America, can you Uber and just fly? They can sleep on their way. We don't care. Just come here and drop these bombs. America comes and think, we take all the credit, but technically Israel did all the job. So they just fly, they probably play Tetris or Netflix or Nintendo Switch, Mario Kart while they're flying with this bees. You know, no one can see them. They can literally fly to the moon and back. No one would know. They're flying. They come here. Oh, we wake up. Yes, drop the bomb. Where Moshe? Where? Yeah, do it here. The drop, boom, destroys. Israel said, okay, we want to continue. Make it. No. Let's stop. That kind of disappointed me. They could have really toppled that regime. But America, someone pulled the string and said, pull back. The Mossad hated that. The former Mossad, you know, the head of the Mossad, Yossi Cohen, came and said, we should have eliminated Khomeini. We should have toppled that regime. It's an evil regime. So I think many in Israel were really hoping to see that. And that really made me pissed that, guys, you started, finish the job. But anyway, just how crazy that is that the Mossad did that. It's like, boom.
Yes. Actually, let me tell you something more crazy. So when they actually took out Hajizadeh, it took about, I don't know exactly how long, but it took like half an hour or something before and after when they took out Salami as well. And the regime just recently came and admitted that when the news came out that Hajizadeh has been taken out, Salami, which is the main head of IRGC, he got the news and he knew that he's probably the next target. But this is the crazy thing that the Iranian people are now talking. So like even when you knew that these attacks were happening, even when you knew that you're probably the next target, you still couldn't, like Israel still managed to take out Salami after. Like basically means that there was nowhere for you to hide. Like how did Israel manage to still kill Salami even after he saw that the attacks are coming, even after he knew that he's probably like, there was no element of surprise anymore, and they still managed to get him. That is crazy. And also, can I brag about something? When the war started, within hours after the war started, I was in Vietnam. I picked up my phone and I started going live on my Persian channel, right? And people were so excited in Iran, and they were telling me like, Armin, is the regime going to fall? Like, guys, is the regime going to fall? Like, everybody was excited on our Persian channel, Iranians from inside Iran. Armin, what's your prediction? Like, we're so happy the regime is going to fall or stuff. Like, is it going to, like, let us know if that's your prediction? And I again, this was just hours after flight. Like, guys, I think the regime is over, except one person could save the regime. I said I think one person, there's a danger. There's only one person right now that could save the Islamic Republic, and that's Trump. Trump could actually come in and stop this war. And people in my live chat, they were like, what are you talking about, Armin? Trump and Netanyahu are on the same page. We're happy that Trump is in power instead of the Democrats because of exactly situations like this. I'm like, no, guys, guys, trust me. I'm very... I'm worried that Trump is actually going to come and stop this war, and that's the only thing that could save the Islamic Republic. And then when it happened, I have now my fans on my Persian side. They're like, Armin, are you like in touch with the Mahdi or something? Are you like, like what the hell? Like, what's happening? Yeah. Like, how did you see this coming? I'm like,
no, that's
yeah.
That's true. That's what I was worried as well. I was worried that some bizarre reason, either if it's like Arab world involvement, Russia, maybe even internal, I don't know exactly what, something really shady was happening there. And I was like thinking like, what? Give me one good reason. Why would you not want... See, ceasefire is not the goal at war. The goal at war is victory. Ceasefire is never the goal at war. And now you have a clearly evil enemy that is also aligned with your enemies, with Russia and China. So every possible, and also another country did all the job for you, so you have every possible reason to topple that regime, and then he calls it stop for it. And he even like goes a little bit kind of heated up with Bibi Netanyahu about it, and I was like, man, it's
I think they just said that it's a decision for the Iranian people to take, and you can't force it.
Bullshit. That's
no. The reason why I know why Trump is doing this. Okay, so Trump, the reason why he participated in the Fordo attack, it was because he was getting jealous of Netanyahu. Okay, like Netanyahu was doing such a great job in the 12-day war, and Trump was watching it on Fox News. So he started bragging about the fact that oh, this is going great, and it's American weapons that is doing this. Like he was trying to say that, you know what, we might not be there, but we are there. So because it's our weapons. But then, and eventually that was not good enough for him. So he basically came in, did the Fordo bombing, and like, look, it was fantastic. We did such a great job. But then MAGA turned on him. MAGA hated that he did this. So he was trying to convince MAGA at that point that, look, what I did was not going to increase war. Look, what I did is actually ending war. So he was really looking for a ceasefire at that moment to show MAGA that everything I do is for ending wars, not to increase wars. So he's basically he was trying to make his base, the isolationist part of MAGA, basically, because they were really angry with him that he did that. So he was basically trying to make them shut up. But the good thing is right now he's getting over the Epstein stuff. He's getting really angry with them. So he's basically going to throw them in the, like, he seems like he's going more in the direction of neocons. It seems like. So I'm hoping that next time Netanyahu attacks, there's so much tension right now between the isolationist, anti-Israeli part of MAGA and Trump that this time he's not going to listen to them. So let's see what will happen.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah. Speaking of Trump, what do you think about Trump's removal of sanctions on Syria? What do you guys think about that?
One of the reasons that we're seeing the slaughter right now of the Druze and the Christians. And I heard
Really?
that's from people in Syria as well. What happens, you see, they felt that the West was holding Jolani accountable, and he knew, hands off the minorities, that's one of the cornerstones to show that you're really changing. But what happened is when they start talking about the Abraham Accords and they start pushing so much and removing the sanctions, and he goes and he hugs Macron and Trump says good words about him, I think the Syrians started to feel a little bit comfortable. Okay, the West is on our side. We're the good guys. They don't care about the minorities. And that gave them kind of the feel that they can go and do that and still not be held accountable. And they would have probably been, by the way, if it wasn't for Israel that would have went and literally kicked their ass for doing that, they would have probably done that, finished that slaughter, the massacre, and went on and still been, going in the Abraham Accord. And I tell you what, in a year from now, I won't be surprised if they would have nominated Jolani for a Nobel Prize for peace, because the West was so obsessed with trying to make him look what they want him to be, this image of Che Guevara combined with I don't know what, that they would ignore everything. And I feel that they really felt, because France, Europe, and America was falling for it, they felt comfortable and they exposed their true skin. And they sent literally tanks to, genocide a whole community there, annihilate. I don't like to use the word genocide easily, but to annihilate the whole community there and butcher them. So I think that big part of it is because Trump and Europe kind of ignored it and were kind of believing that he's a good guy.
I'm trying to get the image. Were you guys angry when you saw, what do you guys felt when you saw Trump shaking the hands of Jolani? Like, did that piss you off or what?
That was outrageous. To be honest, you don't give treats to terrorists before you make sure that they actually did redeem their ideology, or redeem themselves or try otherwise. He just he was sending people to make suicide bombings, and now he's all dressed up in those suits and he's meeting Donald Trump. Come on, the world got insane.
Armin, what if I would have told you right after 9/11, I would have came and told you, listen, there'll come a day that a guy from Al-Qaeda, an Arab from the Middle East, from Al-Qaeda, the same organization that came and just flew this plane and dropped your towers, killed your people, same organization will have a guy, an Arab Muslim guy, and he will jump with a bunch of jihadists from ISIS and Al-Qaeda. He will conquer a whole country, start killing Christians and Alawites, and then he'll put a suit, and then Europe will come and shake his hand, hug him, and the president of the United States will, and by the way, he's declared as a terrorist. There's literally $1 million, several million awards on his head, I think $10 million. And then the US will come and say, remove that reward, let's go and shake his hand. People in the ashes of 9/11, with the towers falling down, would have told you, have you lost your mind? There is no way this is going to happen. Jolani, Al-Qaeda, they did 9/11. Middle Eastern, Muslim, radical, jihadists, ISIS, kidnapped the country, killed his people, went to Europe, put a shave, the beard, they're all coming and shaking his hand. People would have thought that you're crazy, but that's what happened.
And after that, he went beyond just shaking his hand. He's constantly complimenting him.
Yeah.
Like, he keeps saying that he's such a great guy. I like the guy. He's like, he has every time that Trump talks about Jolani, he has just so much praise for the man. I don't know,
The only
like he goes
explanation
out
I
of his
have for
way.
that, the only explanation I have for
Mm.
that is that maybe he's a CIA agent, or at least that they kind of managed to get him. He was in jail in the CIA. They managed to get him, and then they told him, "Listen, we're gonna help you get in power, and then you're gonna work for us." And they're going head over heels to try to keep him in power. That's like the only other explanations I have.
I
Maybe
hope
have
so.
sealed his fate.
If
I don't care. If someone goes and take him down because I said that, you know what? Good. We just got rid of another jihadist.
right.
Guys, you
If
need to
he is
excuse
a
me. I need
CIA agent, I
to
apologize.
run.
Oh,
I need to
okay,
go
okay.
somewhere. Thank you so much. It
Yeah.
was such a great conversation. Bye, Abu Rafi. Miss you all.
Yeah.
Miss you,
Bye
Abu
Yeah,
Rafi.
but before you go, can you advertise your channel or your podcast? Can you tell people where to go find it before you go?
Yeah, it's the Khalifa Shrugged. Khalifa, like my name here on the screen. Shrugged, like the book of Ayn Rand, Atlas Shrugged.
Oh wow, okay.
All
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
Great
So
question.
I'm gonna go after the show. I'm gonna go get the link to both of your channels. I'm gonna put it in the description. Okay. So people go
Amazing.
check it
Thank you
out.
so much. It was a true pleasure.
Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Khalifa.
Bye
Sleep
bye.
well.
Thank you. Can we respond to some super chats really quickly
Yes.
before
I
you
think
go? Okay.
I think I have like a few minutes as well, and then so let's
Okay,
do.
I'll make it quick then. I'll make it quick. Yusuf is saying, has Mansur Ashkar ever talked about the Uyghurs?
No, I haven't talked about them yet. I did myself a very clear thumb rule that I try not to talk when I have such a large platform about things that I'm not really informed about. Now, I'm probably more informed than the average person when it comes to military stuff, but even about the war with Russia and Ukraine, I try to stay out of it because I know I might easily end up playing to the hand of the wrong people by saying things. Oh, I have a pretty clear idea. So I'm an expert when it comes to special forces, when it comes to the Middle Eastern conflicts, when it comes to the Arab world, the Druze world, the Jewish world, the Christian world. I've studied these things. I walked the whole land of Israel with a Bible in my hand and read it all. So I'm very comfortable talking about things that I know very well. About the Uyghurs, I don't know enough yet. I need to study it more before I start talking about it. So forgive me, guys, but I just don't want to say nonsense.
No, that's a good strategy. I admire that. Moral Wombat, thank you so much for the 5 memberships. Shana, yeah, Moral Wombat, I really love that name, by the way, always. Shana is saying it's not just a cheat code, or referring to
Yeah.
the cheat code analogy that you mentioned regarding the woke people trying to act like they're doing something heroic without actually suffering for it. Saying it's not just a cheat code, it's also because the Western nations have lost their identities, both as the West and as individual nations. I think this is just a result of getting advanced. Like, I mean, this is what happened with Rome. They just got so rich, and when you get so rich and powerful, then you get so comfortable, and then you're gonna have a crisis of meaning. Like, it's not.
Yeah, you become
It's just a
bored.
natural thing that happens. Yeah, you get bored.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, Darko, thank you so much for the memberships. Toro just constantly gave us memberships
I love Sueda.
throughout the show. Thank you guys. I appreciate that. Toro all the time. Yeah. And also Sabine with the $10 super chat, and also 10 €10, and saying maybe twice actually, saying maybe everyone wants Jolani look better than he is, or maybe everyone wants Jolani to look better than he is. Yeah, maybe. I mean, actually, I don't blame people if they're hoping for something to good come out of this, right? I mean, this region, I mean, even if it's wrong, you can see why people are hoping that, like, what if he's just reformed? What if he's trying to make Syria? What if he's not doing he has moved on away from his Al Qaeda ways, and he wants to modernize Syria, and he wants to be peace, have peace with Israel and be tolerant of minorities. Like, why not? Like, why can't we have nice things? Like, basically.
It's a very Western and Christian thing to do, I feel like, to try to give, another chance, to try to hope for the best. But sometimes it can get dangerous also because it can get easily abused,
Okay, and do you give it any chance that maybe Jolani is, might actually be able to, like, if he's empowered, he might be able to, I don't know, fix the situation somewhat. Like, there's no chance, like, there's no why we shouldn't trust this guy at all one
I
bit.
will give most humans a chance, I think, but I would always
Mm.
say the responsibility of proof is on them. So I will
Mhm.
not
Okay,
jump.
that's a weird.
Yeah, let him prove it.
Okay,
Let him prove it. One of the first
okay,
steps to prove it: start treating the minorities, fairly. Christians,
yeah.
Jews, Alawites.
But
Give them.
based on your so the policy is that based on your history, I am justified to mistrust you unless you prove me otherwise.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
okay. That's good. That's good. So Diamond Encrusted Warrior always gives us super chats with crazy stories. He thinks he's Esau. He thinks he's the Messiah, and he comes and mixes conspiracy theories with his, like, I'm saying I am Esau. Angel Gabriel is an extraterrestrial who is in charge of U.S. military and U.S. government. Allah is also extraterrestrial. His spaceship is orbiting Saturn, as known by NASA, CIA, and under EI. I don't know what that is. I always tell, every time he gives us a super chat with something like that, I always tell him that it is missing some dragons, and I'm not interested in his stories unless he adds some dragons to it. Um, Sam is saying, thanks for the stream. Awareness is important. The Druze deserves all the protection they need. Yep, pretty much. I agree. And Tora, thank you again for the super chats. Rachel, thank you so much for the super chat, saying thank you for raising awareness. And then last one, Angry Keyboard Warrior saying, Mansur, I noticed you called out unapologetic third narrative after being on their podcast twice. Kind of wild. LOL. I agree, though. I don't know what this is about.
So that's a good question. The Third Narrative is a podcast that is run by two Israeli Muslim Arabs that identify as Palestinians. One is Ibrahim, which is a highly respect. I think he's a great guy, and the other one is Amira, which that's why I called them out, because I went to their podcast, and when I went there, I kind of went with quite a lot of hard questions to ask them. But then when I was there, I felt, you know what, Mansur, don't go with this fighting mentality. Finally we have Palestinians that are trying to bring a third kind of voice into it, actually help empower them and lift them up. So I was very, very kind, the whole podcast. But the thing is, slowly, I started noticing that Amira is using the classic Muslim Brotherhood romanticizing technique, which is to make radical Islam romantic. And it's always going to be a feminine figure with olive skin and nice hair and olive tree in the background. And they will always come and just sing over and over about how evil is America, how evil is Israel, how oppressed they are, how this, how that. And there's a lot of things to cry, but they will never talk about how bad they are and how wrong they are. So slowly, they're soothing in what later on ends up to be Muslim Brotherhood and steroids. So Muslim Brotherhood, radical Islam benefits from these kind of agents. They're in your universities. Everyone in the US have a friend named Munira or Samira in university that wear the kafia all the time. And when you talk to yourself, yes, my family is so poor. They're so Israel. The Israelis are so evil. They're so the occupiers, the settlers, and they like to play on that. And there's always a little bit truth in it, but mostly a lie and also distortion of the real picture. So when I saw that she's doing that over and over and over and over while being a Muslim Arab living in Israel, walking in the beach of Tel Aviv on a bikini, feeling free to walk however she wants in Israel, while she would be flogged and beaten and become a sex slave of some jihadists if she was in Palestine and Gaza. But she doesn't condemn that at all. She keeps condemning Israel and Israel and Israel and the IDF and the IDF. So when I saw this happening, I said, I'm fed up with that, and I'm going to call her out for what she's doing. And that is a Muslim Brotherhood agent that is romanticizing jihad, and it's very, very dangerous because many Europeans are falling for that. Many Americans are falling for that because it's easy. I think most people who have an opinion about the Middle East, it's an emotionally friendly-based opinion. They have a friend that tells them something, and they're connected to that friend. Samir, I believe you. If only I can go and see my grandmother, but the evil Israelis will not let me go. And then he goes in, it's like, I love Samir. He's such a good dude. And I would trust Samir over anyone here. And they have this, like, they're being infiltrated by this friendship and by this victimhood. Well, without hearing the whole story, the Samir or this Munira will never tell them what evil things are Hamas doing to its people and what they're doing to gay people. I don't know what. So the third narrative, I started feeling that they're playing this because I've been watching a lot of their posts. Whenever an Israeli hostage was released, quietness. Whenever they saw terrible things happening to the Jews, quiet, not a single comment. Whenever something small happened to the Palestinians, they're all over. And I said, okay, I got you guys. I can read between the line. I can see what you're doing. And I lost my respect to that, podcast. Unfortunately, I still love Ibrahim very much, but the girl there.
Okay, I'm going to ask you. I know you have to go. I'm just going to ask you 3 questions. You could just answer them very shortly because everything you said made me want to hear your answer. Okay. First, I have a new policy recently. I've developed this. I don't recognize Palestine anymore. I don't recognize Palestinian as an identity anymore. I call them so-called Palestinians, people of West Bank, people of Gaza. That's a new thing I'm doing. I just think there is nothing Palestinian other than being anti-Israeli. There's nothing about you're just Arabs. That's your identity. That's your ethnicity. There's no culture that is Palestinian. There's no ethnicity that is Palestinian. There's no nation that is Palestinian. Palestinian is just a word for Arabs who are anti-Israeli. So it's not a culture, it's not a nation, it's not an ethnicity. So I don't recognize that identity. So what do you think? Is that?
I'm impressed that you see it so clearly.
Oh, okay. Oh, thank you.
Very-
Okay. So
True.
second thing, I used to be for the 2-state solution. I am no longer for the 2-state solution. I think Gaza and the West Bank and parts of the Golan Heights are Israel. Do you agree with that?
I agree with that. And I tell you who else doesn't believe in the 2-state solution: the Palestinians. So how can you have a 2-state
Right.
solution with them? They
That's-
keep denying it, and they keep saying we want 1-state solution, and their state solution is heavily entangled with Nazi ideology and jihadist ideology. There's a reason why the Mein Kampf, one of the most bestsellers among the Muslim Brotherhood and in Palestine. There's a reason why the Mufti went and met with Hitler. There's a reason why among the pro-Palestinian movement, there's so many people that actually love Hitler, and they're either Holocaust denier or they choose to support the Holocaust when it fits them. When it doesn't fit them, Holocaust denier. When it fits them, Hitler should have finished the job. So I think if you ever want to think even of a 2-state solution, again, just like in Jolani, the work of proving it should be on them. Show us.
I think it's too late. No,
I think
it's too late.
I think so. I agree.
I think they have been given the chance for a 2-state solution too many times. It doesn't make any sense to try it again. It's over. Okay. So we agree on that. So here's the last one that maybe I don't know if we're gonna agree on this. So I am very, very aggressively anti-Islam. I'm not against all Muslims. I am anti-Islam. I do think there are certain Muslims who don't understand Islam. Okay. So, and they're better people because they don't follow Islam. However, for me to consider you as an ally, as a Muslim who doesn't understand Islam, because if you understood it, you wouldn't be a Muslim. But for me to consider you as a Muslim, for me to consider you as an ally, you have to be very pro-Israeli. Like that's my test. Okay. If you're a Muslim who are very aggressively supporting Israel, even though I don't agree with you on Islam, you're an ally. Do you think that's a good test?
I think that's a good test, and I will add that I have great Muslim friends individually that are really good people, but as a religion, it's a very problematic religion. And again, just an analogy that came to my head the other day, because I'm a nerd, I like to think about these things. If you had the gloves of Thanos right now and you could just snap a finger and make a religion disappear, not the people, an ideology, a religion disappear. If you had made Judaism disappear from the books, we'll probably be in a very bad place as humanity. Same with Christianity, by the way. They kind of took the world that we know it today to where it is. If you would just snap your finger right now and you made Islam disappear as a religion, you just reduced drastically, maybe 98% of terrorism global-wise. You've just reduced drastically the abusement of women and sex marriage for young children, and so much oppression just disappeared like that. So there's undoubtedly, fundamentally, a big, big problem with current Islam. Now, everyone can come and say, I have a nice Muslim friend. That's great. I have many nice Muslim friends. But in general, look at the Muslim world. It's a heavily failing world that's just refusing to come up. So there's a crucial problem there. And I think it's rooted in the foundation of that religion. I was talking to a Druze friend of mine.
Islam is pure evil. Okay, Islam is a disgusting, vile, barbaric, evil religion. There is no saving it. There is no excusing for it. There is no reforming it. There's nothing good that I could say about Islam. If a Muslim is a good person, it's because they are far away from Islam. Like the fact that a Muslim is a better person the less they follow Islam shows to me how vile and disgusting Islam is, right?
Mhm.
So when I say, oh, this Muslim is a good person, the only reason why they're such a good person is because they are as far away from Islam as you could possibly get while holding the nominal name Muslim, right? So when I
Mhm.
say I'm not anti-Muslim, this is not at all a defense of Islam, because good Muslims are good people because they're not following Islam,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So let me be clear. Like, this is not an excuse.
No, I agree.
There's
I agree.
there, yeah, yeah,
I wrote an
yeah.
article when I was in university, but my professor, kind of told me not to because he was a Muslim guy and he was really upset that I did it. But I came and I wrote the thesis about because everybody was talking, what is the problem with Islam, giving it all kind of reasons, economical, geographical. I don't know. That's the problem with Islam is the fact that Islam is Islam. And then what I did to prove that, I said I'm going to take the New Testament, Christianity, and the Quran, and I'm going to look at the founders and the leaders and how they lived their life, and hence on you'll see what happened later. Now, don't get me wrong. Every religion can crazy people come and take and make bad things from it. But I said Christianity. Jesus came, preached love, and then all of his disciples went and died in the name of love. They got crucified, feed them to lion, I don't know what. But they were kind of trying to preach love, which was very reformic back then. Muhammad preached war. He killed, he kidnapped, he slaughtered, he married young girls, he killed the father and took the daughters. And then all of his disciples went and killed each other and did the same thing. Kidnapped each other's wife, killed each other's daughters. And the religion, there's a reason why it's called the religion of the sword. So I said one religion started with a very clear intention, and the other one, and you can see the product of it today. It's still the religion of the sword. Even they say it's the religion of the sword. And one of their main ways to convert people is even by the sword. If you look at theology from Christianity, not how the Crusades did it, but it emphasizes a lot about, it needs to be personal belief, your own faith. Over there in Quran, it's just like you can go and kill a man, take his wife, and she becomes Muslim. No one asks her, and she can never leave. The child is Muslim. If he tries to leave, you can kill him. So they took the whole idea of missionary work and etc. and just made it very, very violent. And no wonder that the Muslim world today is having a very hard time to detach from that and to change it. Because like I said, fundamentally, there's a very, very serious problem how it started.
Yeah. But I'm not going to get into it, but I'll just let you know that when it comes to violence and barbarism, I think the violence and barbarism in Islam is only a small percentage of the problem with Islam. As bad as that is, um like, the ways that Islam ruins lives and destroys the world is a lot more subtle. Like, we see the violence, we see the terrorism, and that gets shown in the news, but a lot of the harms from Islam are a lot more subtle, and a
Yeah.
lot of it is just opportunity cost. But I'm not going to get into that. I just wanted to let you know that there's so much more wrong with Islam than just the barbarism that we see on the news.
Maybe that's a
Yeah.
chance for a conversation another time.
Yeah. Again, can you, before, sorry, I took so much of your time, but can you recommend your channel? Can you tell people where they can go find you, please?
Yes. First of all, you didn't take a lot of my time. I want to thank you for giving me this platform here to come and be a voice for the people of Syria. I'm telling you, I wish more news channels or platforms will call us to come and speak on the behalf of our brothers and sisters in Syria, because no one is doing so. Thank you so much for giving us opportunity in this platform, and all your followers. Thank you so much. I've been reading all the comments and trying to answer. So I can't say enough. Thank you for giving this. You didn't have to, but you chose to come and bring a light of what's happening there. And I wish more people in the world would do that. Regarding my channel, no, thank you, man. Regarding my channel, my name is Mansur Ashkar, and it's Mr. Sahbak. You can find it in YouTube. I'm mostly active in YouTube or on Instagram, but I try to be active in some other platforms. And my podcast is usually going to give you some analytics about the Middle East, a lot of special forces story, and all kind of stuff that I kind of read or know about the Mossad that I can share and talk about. I try to throw it there to spice it up. But also a lot of analytics about the Druze and everything in between. So whoever wants, I would love, come and join, guys, and we'll see you over there. And thank you.
Guys, go, please. guys, go, please, please, please go support these channels. I will go right now as soon as I hit end stream. I'm going to go find the link to these both of the channels. I'm going to put it in the description. Please go check it out. Please go subscribe and support these channels. We need more support. Again, this is the areas that they're both of you are covering is not getting enough attention, and it's really beneficial to everybody, Israelis, people in the Middle East, and the rest of the world. If these types of coverage gets seen more, it's just benefits everybody. So you guys could basically help by just supporting this channel. So please go ahead and do that. And again, Mansur, again, so much. You're being very generous with your time, so I really, really appreciate that. Thank you.
Pleasure is all mine.
Okay, so I'm Israel Chai, Javid Shah.
I'm
Bye, guys.
Hi. Yalla, bye.
Yeah.